Good afternoon, class. How are you feeling today? Are you ready for today's lesson? But before we proceed to our lesson, let me introduce myself to you first. I am Miss Judy Ann C. Pataksil, and I will be your teacher for Physical Education and Health subject. Welcome to P.E and Health subject. Our learning competency for today's lesson is discusses the nature of the different dances. Now, let's proceed to our lesson. Lesson 1. Nature of the different dances. What is dance? Do you have any idea what is dance? So dance is a series of movements that follow speed and rhythm of a piece of music. It is one of the most beautiful forms of art that has grown in leaps and bounds. Dance is no longer a hobby. It is also one of the most lucrative professions as well. The different types of dance styles that are prevalent. When we say prevalent, it is generally or widely accepted or practiced all over the world, are an indication of the popularity of this art form. From the old days till date, dance has always been performed for social reasons or even if just something aesthetically display. So the various type of dances are also considered as an entertaining way to remain fit, with Zumba and other forms of dance being incorporated into workouts routines. Why do people dance? Do you have any idea in mind? Why do people dance? So as we all know, dance is a form of expression that helps a person bring forth who they are and what they are passionate about. And dancing is a way to express feelings of every kind. So people dance for many reasons. So first, dance has been used in worship. Why? It's simply because it is an expression of movement used to communicate with their gods, or, for example, in other tribes, it is the way to communicate to their deities. So, second, dance plays a role in courtship. It allows the dancers or men to display their vigor and attractiveness and to engage in socially accepted physical contact. So for men, dance is their way of telling their feelings, showing their feelings to the woman they want to court with. So that is why dance plays a role in courtship. Next, dance serves as a form of acquaintance for men and women. Dance is an expression of one's feelings. As I have said earlier, dancing is a way to express feelings of every kind. As in old times, it brings magical power to people. So before, in old times, they have said that it brings magical power to people. It also brings victory or somehow restores health to life. And dance serves to entertain others. And it gives beauty and inspiration to others. And lastly, dance is used as whole body workout. Now, let's move on to the origin of dance in the Philippines according to Filipino legend. According to Philippine legend, the first man and the first woman went up to the hill to make their first home. They begat many children and later became the ancestors of diverse tribes. But in several beliefs influenced their way of life. When death struck, when lightning flashed in the sky, and when thunder rumbled, the tribes were struck with fear. They thought that the gods were angry. So to placate their deities, they offered sacrificial rites by the way of fire and smoke in the belief that smokes from fires they carried their invocation heavenwards. So that is the origin of the dance according to the Filipino legend. It is because of the first man and woman who went up to the hill to meet their first home. So now, let's proceed to the ethnic dances of the Philippines. So the ethnic dances of the Philippines are classified into two major categories. The first category is the dances of the non-Christian Filipinos. Letter A, dances of the traditionalist or pagan groups. When we say pagan, it is a person or a group of people holding religious beliefs other than those of the main world religions. Letter B, dances of Muslim groups. So those pictures shows as an example of the dances of the traditionalist or pagan groups. And the dances of Muslim groups. Now, let's proceed to the second category, the dances of the Christian and lowland Filipinos or Western influence. So letter A, the dances are savage, vigorous, and mimetic in character. Letter B, some are light-hearted and mimetic. Letter C, some are performed without music or melodic accompaniment. So, that is the second category of the ethnic dances. Now, let's proceed. What is folk dance? So folk dance, the traditional recreational dance of an indigenous society showing the cultural characteristics of a specific people at a given time and place. Traditional social expression through movements with rhythmic accompaniment which are characteristics of the community life of the people of the different nationalities. So folk dance is a traditional recreational dance and indigenous society showing their cultural characteristic. And folk dance is also a traditional in social expression through movements with rhythmic accompaniment. Next, folk dance is vivid intimate bond of customs, ideas, and traditions of the past through which a multitude of national characteristics in music, steps, and costumes. And folk dance is a dance developed spontaneously and naturally by a specific folk, usually handed down from generation to generation and following a fixed basic patterns. So that is folk dance. Folk dancing is a form of social dancing that has become part of the customs and traditions of a people. Most folk dances develop among people in villages and were passed on from generation in a particular region. So the picture below shows as an example of one of the folk dance in the Philippines. Now, let's proceed to the dances of Itas or Negritos. So the dances of Itas or Negritos, they focus on the feet. The arm movements are simple and free. Their musical instruments include bamboo and wooden sticks, clappers, shields, and native lutes, and also kudyapi, kettle drums, mass metal drums, and bronze gongs. So the dances of Itas or Negritas, they use it for rituals, flirtation, courtship, game dances, animal dances, and duel or war dance. And now, let's proceed to the dances of Muslims. So the dances of Muslims have cultural influences from Hindu, Javanese, Chinese, and Arab Persian civilizations. And the dances of Muslims are oriental, exotic, and stylized. And the musical instruments are agongs, kulintang, bamboo, xylophones, and drums. And the dances of Muslims, they are known for their mysticism, royalty, and beauty, which are evident in their music dances, accompanied by the agong and kulintang. Filipino Muslim dance is marked by intricate hand and arm movement along with shimmering costumes. These pictures shows as an example of the Muslim dances. First, we have the Pangalay dance. Pangalay dance is predominantly performed during weddings or other festive events. And we also have the Singkil dance. When we say Singkil dance, originally or woman, particularly royalty, dance the Singkil, which serves as either conscious or unconscious advertisements to potential suitors. So the dances take its name from the heavy rings worn on the ankles of the Muslim princess. Now, let's proceed to the Spanish influence dances. So the Spanish influence dances reflects Christianity and European art and culture. And Philippine aristocrats created Filipino adaptations of European dances. And the dances by young socialities, music of the rondalia. So I have here an example pictures of a Spanish influenced dance. First, we have pantomima dance. When we say pantomima dance, it is a Bicolano folk dance that came from the Spanish word for pantomime because of its courting, wooing movements. Its old name is salampati, Bicol term for doves. So the dance is sometimes referred to as the dance of doves. So that is pantomima dance. Next, we also have Abaruray dance. Abaruray dance is one of the dances that originated from Luzon. Abaruray separated is Aba and Ruray. This wine offering is a sign or the signal for the beginning of the folk dancing and singing. The musicians play the introduction of Abaruray music. So, those are some of the examples of the Spanish influence dance. Now, let's proceed to the Cordillera dances. Cordillera dances reflects rituals which celebrate their daily lives, a good harvest, health, peace, war, and other symbols of living. Bontoc, Ifugao, Benguet, Apayao, and Kalinga tribes are people whose way of life existing long before any Spaniard or other foreigners stepped foot on the Philippines. So I have here a pictures that shows as an example of a Cordillera dances. First, we have the Oyaoy dance. Oyaoy dance is mostly performed in wedding festivals. This dance mimics the mighty animals such as the Sakpaya hawks. The purpose of this dance is to reinforce one's social status in the community. Second, we have the Salip dance. Salip dance is a Kalinga dance in which a warrior is depicted claiming his bride by giving her a matrimonial blanket. The woman then balances several clay pots on her head and follows the man, an action expressing submission. So the man's actions resemble those of a courting rooster. So those are some example of the Cordillera dances. Now, let's move on to the tribal dance. So tribal dances are also known as ethnic dances. Ethnic minorities found in different parts of the Philippines. Tiboli, Bilaan, Manobo, Bagobo, and other. So the tribal dances intricate craftsmanship in metal, clothing, and jewelry. It also reflects rituals and animals' beliefs in spirits, and shaman's nature, which is anito. And they also have the animal sound or human singing indigenous material. So I have here a pictures that shows as an example of the tribal dances. First, we have the dugso. And the second is maganda at malakas. Now, let's move on to the rural dances. And this is the last topic. So, rural dances reflects the simple life of the people in the barrio. It depicts common work, daily activities of the peasants, and shows gaiety and laughter festivities. So, rural dances perform in fiestas to honor patron saints, and it also gives homage to the barrio's namesake for a good harvest, health, and perseverance. They also have indigenous materials, which is clapping, rondalia, percussion, instruments. So these pictures are some of the example of the rural dances. We have the pandango sa ilaw. It is very common nowadays. And we also have sakoting. Pandango sa ilaw and sakoting is very common because some people are performing this kind of dances. So that's all for our lesson this afternoon. Do you have any questions? If none, let's proceed to your activity and to your quiz. For your activity and for your quiz, just follow the GAITF link on your screen. And if you have any questions about the lessons that we have discussed this afternoon, just call me in my number 0955-0523-097. Goodbye and have a nice day.